Hey everybody, welcome back to Over Here We Craft for Money. I'm DJ, and in today's video, episode 7 of our Cricut Basics, we are making football paraphernalia. Baby, it is football season, and whether you are following high school, college, or professional football, baby, football season is a money maker for crafters. So in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I made both of these shirts for under $20. So if you are not using your Cricut machine to tap into football season, you are missing out. But your girl ain't missing out. So let's go and get into this video so I can show you how I made both of these shirts. Follow me in this video so you can figure out how you can customize these design ideas for your favorite team. Let's get started. Oh, come on. You need to come too. All right, we are over here in Cricut Design Space. The first thing I did was click on images, and I typed in the word Chicago Bears. Cricut has really upped their game because these are the images that came up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was super impressed. So the first image that we're gonna work in for this part of the video is the first image that I liked. I love the word bears, but I didn't necessarily like the word football in this image, but that's okay. I typed in football and then did a little search and came upon this. I like how the football has some sharp edges, but I didn't necessarily like the image of the football pigskins at the bottom, but that's okay because we're gonna combine the two and make our own image. Let's get the screen so you all can see. First things first is we know we wanna get rid of the word football under the word bears because I don't particularly like that one. And so all you need to do is click on shapes, grab you a shape or two. Cricut is always going to pop back up the images if you have something on the screen, so you just have to get rid of that. I like to change the shapes to a different color just so I can keep myself straight on what I'm working on. And then I'm going to bring the square over, unlock the padlock at the top of the panel so that I can manipulate the image. And then I'm going to stretch the rectangle across the word football, drag my mouse over the entire two images, and it's going to give me the option to slice. Once I slice, I can get rid of everything at the bottom because I don't need that anymore. Drag the mouse over it, click delete. The next thing is I liked the football at the top of bears, and I want the word football from the second image. So now we've got to get rid of that bottom part of that football under the word football. So I have an oval shape. I'm going to, again, unlock the padlock, stretch it out, and bring it over to cover up the part I don't want. Now, when I drag my mouse over it, slice didn't come up, but you can always go into subtract, which is what I do here. Serves the same purpose, and I got rid of what I don't want. Now I have football and bears, which I like. I'm just gonna shrink that down and make it the size that I want. Here, you can manipulate this any way you want. The next thing I'm gonna do is just center to make sure that I'm liking how it's all lining up, and I do. Now we need to get the bottom part of the football, and since I like the one that was attached to the word bears, we're just going to take it from there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this, get myself a duplicate of it, because now I know the football image will look the same, and we need to get rid of the word bears. So I just did a 180-degree rotation so I can flip it upside down. And we're going to need to get rid of the word. Get another shape. The padlock, stretch it over the word bears, highlight the whole image, and slice it on out. Delete what we don't need, and now I have the bottom of my football. Let's rotate that, but now it's looking kind of like a baseball. That is not cute. So what we need to do is we need to be able to stretch it out so that it actually looks more oblong, I think is the word. And shapes inside of Cricut can help you manipulate a lot of things between subtract and slice. It'll allow you to get rid of all the things that you don't need and keep what you do. All right, so I like the bottom one a little bit better, but again, it's looking a little circular. So we're gonna unlock the padlocks and we're gonna stretch it out so that it looks a little more oval. Now that we have that, I do always like to double check my centering. I'm gonna lock the words together so that they don't move on me. Make sure everything is centered nicely, and then we're gonna go ahead and get us a top part of the stretched out football. And then once we have that together, now we're looking good. The next thing I do is double check center one last good time. All for sizing. This image is going to cut at a 12 by 11.368. The next thing I do is start to change the colors on the design space so it aligns with the vinyl that I'm going to be cutting. This project, I used glitter HTV as well as regular iron-on HTV. Oh my goodness, try saying that a bunch of times. Anyway, I know this is going to go on an orange shirt. I want it to pop off. So I'm going to highlight both of the parts of the football, and I am going to throw an offset behind them in white so that they can pop up off of my shirt. An offset is a great feature, y'all, to add to any design because it will bring attention to it. In this case, mine just happens to be white because the shirt is orange. Y'all know I told y'all in a few videos back, I'm falling in love with orange for some reason. So, of course, it's lucky for me that my favorite football team has orange in their colors. I'm going to move it down so we can see the offset as it's going to pop up. And the first thing we're doing is putting the offset around the brown parts of the football. That's going to be a white HTV, regular vinyl behind all the words. We definitely need to put one behind the blue letters as well. And here you just want to make sure that when you are putting your offset around, this again is personal preference. Some folks like a thick offset, some like a thin, barely there. But the one thing that I can tell you is that HTV vinyl shrinks. So be careful with that, because if you're not careful and you press it too long, then your offset will shrink on you and then you'll wonder why you can't see your outline. But we'll talk about that more when we go over to the heat press. For now, let's just highlight the blue. Let's throw another offset behind that. And again, for adjustment's sake, I personally wanted a thinner offset, not as thick where both words were connected. And so that's what you see me doing here. And then the next thing that I need to make sure that I do, and this is another reason I love working with offsets, you guys, especially when I'm making shirts with vinyl, is if you do your offset right, it can really help guide you on where all the pieces of your shirt needs to go, no matter how many layers you're working with. So I am team offset over here, and let me know down in the chat, do you like putting offsets around your designs that you do when you're working with HTV or glitter vinyl? Because I do. I'm gonna highlight all of my offset and I'm gonna go ahead and attach them and weld them together. This way, I know exactly where the two colors need to go, perfectly lined up for me. This really does help save you money because y'all know I love crafting, baby, but when it costs us money, it's not as much fun. All right, we had to move the image from the back to the front, center that right on up. Then the blue words for Bears football will come back on over. And again, this is just for a visual. I don't have to have this lined up perfectly here. As long as when we make it over to the heat press, everything is good. I'm not going to save this one because this is a recreated version just for the video. But if I were going to save it, you'd name it here. Now you can see we have 3 colored mats for our 3 types of vinyl. The white is perfect for lining up our image on our shirt. That's going to be the regular HTV. Do not forget to mirror the images when we're doing heat transfer vinyl. The next mat, number 2, is our brown. That's our part of our football. And that's where the materials change. Now we're not using regular HTV for the next 2. We're using glitter. And that requires a different pressure from your Cricut machine. So I'm going to show you just so you know the difference. If I were going to make this one next, I would mirror it because all mirrors for HTV. I would click continue. I'm going to let the machine be located. I have my Cricut connected to my laptop via Bluetooth, so it'll take a few minutes to find it because I had it turned off prior to making this video. So I hit refresh one more time so that the Bluetooth can find the machine, and then it's going to pop up and show the materials that I use most often that I have saved. It'll take a few minutes to do that, but as you can see, HTV regular everyday iron-on is there, and so is my glitter. That's the one that when it's time to cut those other two matte colors, I need to remember that I need to change the material to glitter so that it will cut on the carrier sheet properly. Once we've done all of that, we just head over to the machine and we click on the little blinking button. So let's do that now. All right, you guys have seen me cut vinyl a million times, but I do think it's important for me to show you how to lay down your vinyl. So I am using a strong grip mat because I am wanting to make sure that nothing is lifting up, and I have not cleaned off my standard grip mats in a while. So basically I'm laying out the vinyl and I'm rolling it all the way down. Now we know that these shirts are a little bit bigger than 12 inches across, and so it is requiring a 12 by 24 mat. You can order these off of Amazon. You can get them from any craft store. Once I have cut the vinyl, I am just weeding out now the offset. Again, I love a good piece of vinyl that I can pull apart without using weeding tools. And when you're dealing with an offset, it is simply the best. So that's the white portion of our design. Next, we need to weed out the football image part of the design, and that's on that brown glitter vinyl. And I really want to try to save this vinyl because we really only needed the top and the bottom half of the football. And so that's what you see me doing here. I'm just weeding just enough of that image so that I don't waste all that vinyl in between the two. So it is a little bit time consuming, maybe about a minute to do it, but it's definitely worth it because glitter vinyl is usually more expensive and we are saving money every place that we can. So that is me doing the first part, peeling off the rest of the vinyl. And I think I do the next piece off camera, but you get the gist. It's just cutting out the two glitter portions of our football in our image. Saved a lot of vinyl, loving that. I can put the rest of that up, get the little middle part out I need, and move on to the blue. Now you're gonna see me weeding this. This has the blue portion of our first image and also the blue portion of our second image, which we will get to a little bit later in this video. Right now, I'm just pulling off that glitter vinyl. That is Caesar Easy Weed Glitter HTV. Y'all know I love it. But we're gonna go ahead and get our blue portion ready. Big Mama is turned on and heating up, and then we will move on over to the heat press. Let's tack down our first offset. It tells us exactly where everything needs to be. And one of the things you'll notice when I go to lay it down, remember I told you if you press it a little too long, your vinyl will shrink. And that's one of the reasons that I didn't want the blue words to connect, because I would be able to separate them and lay them each down where I needed them to be. And that is a trick that you want to keep in mind. So I lay the first portion down, lay the second portion down. I already know everything is perfectly lined up because we checked it twice in Cricut. We're going to go ahead and tack that down. I just put a little pressure on there, pull it up, and guess what? Bam! We have our first shirt. Baby, it's cute. For less than $20. We'll do pricing at the end for both. Yeah, we loving this. Let me show y'all how good it looks. Retake. All right, moneymakers, shirt number 1 is down. Up next, shirt number 2. But before we go back into the video, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you like the video. Make sure you drop me a comment in the chat to let me know what your plans are for this money-making season for you as a crafter. And if you have not subscribed to my channel and joined the Moneymakers family, I hope that you will. I'm trying so hard to get to 2,500 subscribers before the end of September. And you sharing this video and making sure you subscribe will help me get there. So without any more delay, let's get back to the video so you can figure out how to make this cutie right here. All right, so we are back in Cricut Design Space and we are editing the image for shirt number 2. I already had it done because I made the shirt. Obviously, you guys saw me in it, but we are going to recreate it here in case you want to make you a Chicago Bears shirt. So the first thing I did is I came over here to my images, search Chicago Bears, and there is my second image. So I already have my image and I know that I wanted to say classy until kickoff. So the next thing I'm going to do is find me some text and I'm going to type out classy until kick off. Now, in case you are wondering, this font I got off of Creative Fabrica. It is downloaded into my system fonts and it is called AB. No, I'm gonna take that back. This one was BFC Home Team. All right, Home Team Light, I believe. I'll make sure I put it all inside of the description. All right, so now that I have that and I have my image, now it's time to quickly do some work here. So I'm gonna make the image a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm working with. And of course, we need the words to be bigger so that they actually make sense for the image. All right, so once I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and center them horizontally so that I know it's right. The next thing I'm going to do is highlight them and turn them into the color that I can see so that I can know what I am doing. All right, so the first thing that I need to do for this one is I need to give myself an offset. And let's move this down so we can see it. So I need to give the words an offset. I also want to unlock this so that I can kind of manipulate my image a little bit, make it a little bigger just for the purposes of here. All right, so I know I'm gonna need an offset around this image one more time because I moved it. I'm anal about that part. All right, I'm gonna click on that and I am going to give myself an offset, and the offset that I'm going to give it is a point. I think my first one, I wrote it down. Yeah, my first offset that I did was a 1.25 and I apply. That's a pretty thick one and I'm okay with that. I like to turn it navy because that's the color that it's going to be. Now I need to move this off because this offset is separate and I'm gonna want to merge my offsets together. So I'm gonna slide this on out the way. And I'm just going to highlight over both of those images. And over here on the right, I'm going to click slice. And once I've done that, it's going to take away some pieces over here that I don't need. So I can, if you want to see what it's taken away, you can just click on each one and close the little eyeball and it'll show you what it removed. Right? And then if I click on that one, that's the whole offset in and of itself. So this is our first one that it removed for us. And if I were to go and put her back in her place, you will see that that part is gone. Now, I just needed it to make room for my words so that I could see my actual words. There we go. All right. So now I have this space in between here, which is going to work out just fantastic because now we're going to put another offset, this time around the whole image. All right, so I'm going to drag my mouse over that, cover my whole image. I am going to weld this together so that this is all one piece for me, making it much easier when I weed. And then I'm going to throw an offset around this. And this time I'm going to make the offset a little bit thinner and we're gonna make this a 0.80. That's gonna thin it out real good for me, I think.
And now I'm gonna turn that navy. And now that I have my offset set up, I'm going to move this out to the side. Actually, I'm this way. And now I have my offset behind. Now, here's the thing. We don't want, I'm gonna center it back. All right. So I gotta remember that I don't want there to be all this wasted blue glitter behind this, because this is gonna be puff in my shirt. So the first thing I like to do, because I always make mistakes, and anybody who does these things and don't tell you that they make mistakes are not being truthful, because you make mistakes. So I always copy my image and move it over to the side. Now the next thing that I want to be able to do is I want to get rid of that blue behind these letters. So I'm going to hit slice first and see if that gets me what I need. And I think it will, but let's double check together. So if I move the orange to the side, which we need, and then I click on the inside, which is what would get weeded away, I don't need this anymore. Though I could make a reverse shirt, but I'm not going to. Now when I take this and I put this back together, I won't have any vinyl under here that would disrupt the puff. I will highlight it, center it back together, and now I've got my image. So I'm going to get rid of my copy because I don't need my copy anymore. I now have my image, and I'm going to have two mats that I'm going to cut on. I'm going to have a blue one for my glitter vinyl offset, and then my center image is my puff orange vinyl that I got from Total Ink Solutions. And again, I always just center it again to make sure I'm good to go. She looks good. It's time to go and cut and weed this vinyl. So let's do it now.
All right, money makers, that's our video. But before we go, let's talk pricing. If you look on Etsy or any of the national websites for sports paraphernalia, including Amazon, you're gonna see shirts similar to these or like these in the price range of $50, $60, $65. And goodness help you if you go to a game and you actually get a shirt from the actual sporting event location, you could be paying upwards of $100. But we just learned here today with our Cricut, a little HTV vinyl and a little creativity, we can make our own football season shirts. As I said in the video, these shirts cost me less than $20 to make both of them. Depending on the brand of shirts you get and the style of it, whether it's heavy cotton or soft style, and depending on the materials you use, whether that's puff vinyl, glitter, or HTV, anywhere, I just round it up and say each shirt costs me $10. If I wanted to reproduce the shirts and sell them myself or sell the design in my Etsy shop, the sky is the limit for me. It all depends on if I'm going to outsource for screen printing or the like, right? We also talked about the fact that you could take these designs, both of them, and really turn them into any type of sports teams that you like. So maybe it's for your PTA booster club in your kids' high school or their little flag football team. You can make a shirt for all the parents and advertise that in whatever social medias or parent groups or WhatsApp groups you have, and you can make you some really nice money. Maybe you're going to a tailgate and you can make some shirts and sell it on site at the tailgate. Maybe you're hosting football gatherings at your house on every Sunday and you can have the paraphernalia that folks will see and decide that they want to buy. Either way, football season is a huge craft and moneymaker opportunity because football is being played at every age and every stage of life, honey. So do not miss out on this opportunity. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed episode 7. Episode 8 is coming up and we're going to move into some glassware that you can use your Cricut to personalize and also capitalize on this football season. So make sure you pop back over on next Tuesday because that's when episode 8 will release. Until my next video or my next live, bye everybody.
I really hope you're enjoying the Moneymakers family. Make sure that you subscribe and don't forget to check out episodes 1 through 6 in our Cricut Crafting series. It's filled with lots of information that you can use. Remember, crafting is fun, but it's a whole lot better when we make some money. Bye.